Well, in California, there were our leaders there at the Coachella Ranch were questioning him as to why some funds had not been released, been reimbursed for some supplies that we had, where he had agreed to reimburse us on. And also they were questioning him as to how come land that had been promised for our use we were not able to use. And then he got mad, and he had the police come and escorted off our leaders there at the Coachella Ranch. And then we subsequently all left within a day or so. Then we were locked out of the hotel. The young people went out on Sunday afternoon witnessing. When they came back, they were locked out of the hotel where they had been living for the last year and a half, and subsequently spent 2 nights in a park, and it was a couple of days later before we were allowed back in the building to get our personal belongings.
How long do you have before you have to be out of here?
Well, we were given notice, it's been 3 or 4 days ago now, that we had 10 days to vacate the premises, and then and we're making every effort that we possibly can to leave. We don't want to stay anywhere where we're not welcome.
We went into the nearest town, called Mingus, to find out how the townspeople felt about it. Mr. Fred Keese is a former pastor, and he too now lives in Mingus. Mr. Keese, what do you think of them?
As far as I'm concerned, all of my dealings and experiences with them has been favorable.
You know of anyone who ever had any trouble with them?
Not personally, no.
You ever been out there?
Yes, one time. I enjoyed my visit, and I think they're reaching a group of people that we could never reach in our churches.
Willena Wright is a former newspaper reporter who now runs Jake's Place in Gordon, just a few miles up the road. What do you think of them?
Well, I'm relieved that they're leaving. I feel like it's in the best interest of the area that they leave, and I've mistrusted their motives and intents for a good long while. And I feel, though, like it won't be long until we'll have another group out there.
We asked Mr. H.D. Roye what he thought about the children of God.
Well, they've been no bother to us at all. As far as I know, they're what they say they are. They say that God furnishes them with what they need.
The home of the group that calls itself Children of God is at the Texas Soul Clinic, and that's about 3 miles south of an almost ghost town named Thurber. Thurber is due west of Dallas and Fort Worth on Highway 80. As you drive along the road to the Texas Soul Clinic, there are signs offering free camping, free food, music, and love.
I had just walked out. I had just got in there. I had just got to the street. God bless you, man. I really love you.
Hey, Amos, this is Joab's dog.
I'll be here.
Today, October 1st, marks a new era for Texas voters. Heretofore, if a Texan voted, it was mandatory by law that he register between October and January of the following year. However, the law has now been amended to allow Texans to register all year long without having an established voter registration deadline. I asked County Tax Assessor Ben Gentle just how literally this law would be interpreted.
Under the new law in Texas, you can register at any time, but the only stipulation is that you must register 30 days before any election in which you wish to vote.
Another noteworthy change in the voting law allows voter registration deputies to be assigned anywhere in the county, including civic clubs, union halls, office or apartment buildings, as well as college dormitories. They may also work flexible hours as opposed to the old law, where they had to work specific locations during specific hours. However, one of the most sweeping changes in the law allows Texas's newly acquired voters, those 18 through 20 years of age, to vote in all elections, federal, state, and local, as opposed to the initial interpretation of the law allowing them only the privilege of voting in federal elections. Well, the effects of these changes remain to be seen, but some political observers predict the new law will bring about 1 million new voters in Texas. This is Gene McIntyre at the Dallas County Courthouse for Channel 8 News on the Move.
Yeah, I'm quite happy about it in that the county, both Judge Green and all of the county commissions made a decision this morning to move as rapidly as possible in trying to decentralize the food stamp program, not only in Stop 6, but both the north side and the south side eventually. They hope to, by the first of the year, to have at least 5 outstations of food stamp distribution in the county, including Arlington.
What area are you moving into first?
We're going to attempt to move on the north side and helping the county secure a facility out there that they can work out of as soon as possible, and we're talking about within the next 10 days.
Will that be in conjunction with the Poly Center to be open to?
Yeah, there was a discussion on the facility in Stop 6 this morning, and some of the commissioners felt that the contractor who was doing the work on the building was dragging his feet, and they felt that there should be some way to speed this process up so the building can go on and be completed.
The grievances are poor medical treatment. The doctors are never available to treat the prisoners. Overcrowded facilities, time visitations, cold food, censorship of mail, abolition of isolation cells. The last one, abolition of isolation cells, was one that we thought might be good for the prisoners, because isolation cells, which there are 108, they're 5 by 8. They have no sanitation facilities.
Well, I think the real question is, Senator Muskie said that he was ready for a black vice presidential candidate, but the country was not ready for it. And the real question, I think, is the country ready for a Polish president? Now, I don't have any prejudice against Polish Americans, because I don't have any prejudice whatsoever, but I don't know if anybody else in the country is as liberal as I am, and they may not be ready for him.
A few weeks ago, a statement was attributed to James Meredith stating that the South is a better place to live than the North. Do you share this view?
I share the view. I think it's a better place. It's not better necessarily economically, and there's still a great deal of physical harassment and violence for black people in the rural South, but I think overall it is a better place to live. It's a better place to live because you can do more to make things better in the South, I think.
Well, doesn't it seem then that he has accepted a defeatist attitude by moving back to the South when, by his own admission, the fight is really in the North?
No, I think what he said and what John Lewis has said in the article right up on the bulletin board wall there is that black people need to put down their roots where they are.
Well, I think one of the main problems we have is lack of motivation. And motivation often depends on someone's ability to look at things from the other person's point of view. Like your audience may be thinking about things that I'm not thinking about at the moment. You see, they concentrate on other things than you and I are talking about.
How does one properly motivate himself, so to speak?
Well, he has to set his goals, and that's the important thing. Set a goal and then work towards it. Maybe 3 or 4 goals each day, and then work towards those things.
Yeah.
people in the industry are interested now in using the vehicle, the equipment, the so-called hardware that you have, at the same time plan for the future. The monorail has been considered. There are subway systems are being extended and developed in the larger areas. Then there are various types of elevated systems that they're trying to find a system that will appeal to the aesthetic standards more than, we'll say, some of the old systems such as the 6th Avenue L and things of that sort. You want a quieter operation. There's a constant effort to improve.
Well, I think that some of the problems that have been occurring with respect to the Dollar Community Action Agency are probably the result of some misunderstandings about the missions and purposes of a community action agency and how Congress and the OEO regulations visualized that the agency would work. And that a discussion of these things might alleviate some of the confusion or divisions that exist.
Do you think that some of the problems were resolved?
That's difficult to say. We didn't have the kind of barometer which would tell us how much of this had been accepted and sunk in. I think only the future can tell whether or not we've been successful in dispelling any of the problems.
But I have had persons come to my home personally. As a matter of fact, I have here in my pocket now a written offer from a very concerned family offering over 400 acres in the magnificent, beautiful East Texas area, just north of Marshall. Free? Right. I haven't had an opportunity to even talk to the people personally because my telephone's been ringing off the wall today.
What are you shooting, Jim? Huh? I'm wide.